This conference will now be recorded.
So we started discussing about error handling. In error handling, so we discussed about two concepts. One is a try block, one is except block. The statements which may cause for error, we maintain on a try block. The statements which you want to be executed because of the error, we maintain in except block. So if I'm going back slide 2 lines before, you can see here there might be a chance the user can enter a string instead of numerical, so that may cause to error. So in case if we enter the error, then when I want to communicate to the user, enter some numerical data or the statements which you want to execute because of the error or because of the object class, error object class. I want to execute some code, so that will be maintained in except clause. So in case when the error appear, the subsequent code in the try block will not be executed. It will be terminated. So it will go to your except block, and the code what you written there, it will be executed. Those are two things we discussed. But now the situation is, I also wants to execute a piece of code when there is an error or when there is no error, both the situations. For an example, print jet. In the current example, print jet I want to be execute when there is an error or when there is no error, both situations. Or I want to say that program completed, print double quotation program completed, I want to be executed. That generally when there is no error, the try block will be there. In that we have the last statement as program completed, it will be executed. When there is a terminated has happened, program is terminated, then the program going to except block. Those scenario how to handle. I I also want to display the program completed when the program is going to except block and the except block has been executed. This situation, how to handle the things. I don't want to write the same piece of code again in except block. I have to write it only once, and it has to be applicable for try and except block. Those scenario, I go with finally block. Finally block. What you're seeing right now. So if you see, there are three different situations. In the first iteration, the user entered 200, which I'm showing here. And the second number he entered as 100. So nothing but both are integers, and 200 by 100 is going to be show as 2. So the try block itself will be executed. System will not go for except block. In the second iteration, the user entered first number as 100, second number he entered as 0. So 0 division class is going to be executed. Nothing but except block will be executed. And in third iteration, the first number is 100 and second number is ABC. And default except block will be executed. Till that you are comfortable? Yamini and Giri?
Yes, Amar.
Now, whether the situation 1 or situation 2 or situation 3, I want to give a default message saying that welcome to Hyderabad, or you can say that in programming terminology, program is completed or task completed. Some message you want to give information. Those scenario, in the first one, generally it will appear. In second and third one, it may not be appear. So based on the situations. Now what I can use, I can depend on final block. The final block is nothing but the piece of code which you want to execute after try or except block. So you can see here, try block, the same code copied and pasted from the previous slide. So first input and second input, nothing but first number and second number executed, z equal to x by y, print z. So the system is going to display 2 as per the first iteration. Except block, 0 division error. So system is going to print second number should be numeric. So this is also okay. Now print welcome to Hyderabad. So though it is going to be a try block or except block, welcome to Hyderabad will be executed for first iteration, second iteration. But what about third one? It will not be executed. The reason is the third one is a default one or a different except block. So the program is going to be terminated automatically without executing further. It's a string. But my requirement is this statement, welcome to Hyderabad, or a task is completed, should be executed and should be printed after completion of your program. Either it may be terminated, it may be executed. So those scenario I can depend on finally block. Finally block is nothing but a block of statements which will executed whether the exceptions occurred or not occurred. In the both the situations, either only the try block is executed or except block is executed. In both the situations, your final block will be executed. So exceptions handled or not handled, but these statements will be executed. So final block is that. Now you can see here, try block I maintained the x value, y value, and the calculation what I want to be executed. And in except block I maintained 0 division error, print second number should be a numeric. And there is no default and there is no string value error, whatever it may be. Then finally I maintain finally block, print welcome to Hyderabad. Now print program is terminated, completed. Now what is the difference between welcome to Hyderabad and program is completed in the sense? So when my try block or except block is executed, then print and welcome to Hyderabad and program completed both will be executed. When my program is abnormal termination is happen, like the user entered a string value instead of a numerical value, then program is not going to be continue, it will be abnormal termination. So the program completed will not be there, only welcome to Hyderabad will be there. Hope you're clear what I'm trying to say.
Can you repeat, Amar?
Yes, I'm coming to that. Now I just entered the user input x value and y value, z equal to x by y, and print z value. So till this you're clear?
Yeah, Amar.
Now if the user entered second value as a 0, the system will, the object class is nothing but 0 division error. So system is coming to except block, and it is giving a message saying the second number should be a numeric number, not a 0.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So since either a full try block or an except block is executed, then your print program also completed. This also will be executed. Program completed. It's not abnormal termination. Either try or except both. One of the things is executed, so program is completed is executed. And whether try or except is any one of these things executed or abnormal terminations happen, but by default welcome to Hyderabad will be there.
Okay.
For an example, user entered a string value. String is not a zero division by error, right? So what is happening? Abnormal termination will happen. Correct? The program will be terminated immediately without executing further lines. So when there is abnormal termination has happened, this print program completed will not be executed.
Okay.
But welcome to Hyderabad will be executed. Finally block.
Okay. So finally block we use for any abnormal termination for the code.
Yes.
Okay.
For example, A. A is a string, right? Now
Yeah.
what it is value error. It's not a zero division error, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it cannot come to except block. So
Okay.
abnormal termination is happened. So you can see here invalid literal. It's not in. It's not an integer number. It's a. What I entered is a. Though there is abnormal termination, whatever I entered, the statements within the finally block is going to be executed
Okay. Final block will execute, but it will throw the error.
with error. Error you can
Okay.
see abnormal termination you have it, but
Okay.
still it is going to finally block the piece of code whatever you mentioned there. It will be executed
Mm-hmm.
in abnormal termination also. But where if I'm coming to zero division error, for an example, I enter like this. Zero division error. If my full length of my state piece of code, either in try block or an except block, is executed, it is not an abnormal termination. It is executing either try block or except block. So both the statements print welcome to Hyderabad, also program completed, both is executed. You can see my except block is executed saying the second number should be a numeric number and the piece of code whatever you written. Then it is also executing the final block and it is also executing the program completed because the entire program is not terminated. Either it's going to try block or it's going to except block. Once it's successfully completed, it's going to be say program completed instead of saying that termination. So what is my understanding from here is when you have abnormal termination and you want to give some message or you want to run some piece of code, maintain under finally block. It will be executed automatically when there is an abnormal statement or when the program is completed. Is it clear?
Yes, yeah.
And if you see the indentation also is very important. Which one to be under finally block, which one to be under main program, you have to decide it. So first spaces indentation is always recommended to to give the bifurcation between the main program and sub program. Now welcome to Hyderabad is a piece of code comes under finally block and program completed comes under main program, the same column of your try. So in case if I maintain this same indentation for both, irrespective of abnormal termination or a termination, the piece of both the lines will be executed. Welcome to Hyderabad and program completed. Hope you are clear. So ensure that the indentation is proper. You might be assume that my syntax is correct, I written proper code, but if there is a change in indentation, the space changes, the entire logic will be changed. Why I'm telling again and again, the assignment which I given to you is totally depending on indentation. Loops, control statements, if you remember, is x is y, those statements are grouped by functions. If you understand these three concepts, that assignment which whatever I given to you is just dead easy.
Okay.
So the different exceptional handling, how we can do it means single try and single except block. What we learned, user is going to be enter which is causing for abnormal termination. We'll maintain a try block, then followed by except block. So here the system will execute either a try block or except block, but there's no final block. A single try and multiple exception blocks. So what we discussed, value error in one except and zero division error another except, default except. So what we seen in yesterday's class. So try, which is causing your abnormal termination, we are maintaining on a try, except first exception class, except second exception class, except default one. So you can maintain like that. Try and finally block. So you're going to maintain try block and abnormal termination are executed. What in any case, either fail or success of the try block, final block will be there. Any questions?
No, Amar.
And try, except and finally block. It's opened. Try, except and finally block. So just know what we seen. User is going to enter the username x and y values under try block and under except block. Based on the except of value, zero division error or a except value error, except default one, you're going to maintain under except blocks. And finally, the statement which you want to be communicate to your user or the piece of code which you want to execute, irrespective of the success or failure of your try and except, maintain under finally block. So these are type of different exceptional handlings. You can able to use it in your day-to-day communications. Any questions? Now we'll go for a little complex. What we learned, the same piece of code, we'll make it into slightly complex one by using a control statements. So nested blocks. So within the try, another try, within the nest, within the except, another except, within the final, another final, something like this. So this is going to be my main block. Try, except, final. Under try, so print try one. Again, I have one more sub program, nothing but error handling. So try, except, final. So when it comes to the try, the system is going to execute a piece of code, nothing but print in try. And again, the system is trying to execute a piece of code which is under a second try. If that fails, it will go to except and it's going to display except. I'm talking about only under try. And whether it is a try is executed or except is executed or both are terminated, finally two will be executed. For an example, in the first try itself, it got failed. Nothing but print one is not executed, maybe syntax issue or some other issue. So it will go to except block. When it reaches to except block, the system is going to display except one. Once it's executed successfully, then it will go to the try block and it is trying to execute the try three. In case if there is some kind of issue, system will go to except block and display except three. Either try or except or both are not executed, abnormal termination, final three will be executed. So whether try or except block is executed or both are terminated, finally block here it will be executed. It is a finally one. After finally one, again there will be a try, there will be except, there will be finally. Okay. So by using a control statements, again you can control error handling, multiple error handlings. So same error handling what I explained in the previous slide, the same error handling I maintain to nested blocks. So these nested blocks will help you to control multiple statements under one and to maintain multiple pieces of codes based on the decision making. This is going to be help you for your assignment purpose. If this is fails, go to that except. If that fails, go to this one. So you can maintain like that. Any questions?
No, Amar.
So for whatever I explained you are system defined exceptions like value error and everything. Now we also can use user defined exceptions. I'm not going to explain you in detail today. The reason is we have object oriented program. After that, I'll come back to user defined exceptions. It is going to be a lengthy concept, but for overview, how the user defined exceptions will be there means the exceptions which are defined by the programmer, nothing but a user, explicitly according to their requirements are known as user defined exceptions. Sorry, zero division by error is a system defined. Value error, system defined. All these are errors are defined by the classes are defined by object class. Zero division by error is nothing but object class is defined by the system. Similarly, I can create my own class. I can maintain for my error, nothing but I can use it for an exception purpose. If this kind of error going to be occurred based on my program or my business need, then this so and so sub program has to be executed. So I can define my own class, object class. So those things we can discuss when I complete my object oriented programming, may start in 1 or 2 days. Steps to implement defining exceptions is nothing but define user defined exception class. So the class is always defined under object oriented programming, not in modular programming. That is the reason I'm not able to take it here. So raising the exceptions, how to raise an exception, handling an exception, excuse me, how to handle a user exception, how to maintain a try block or except block for user defined exceptions. So define user defined exception class. So how to define your own class? No other option. I have to depend on my object oriented programming. So we'll start tomorrow or after tomorrow. A user defined exception class that extends any one of predefined exceptions that can, then the class is defined as exception class. So the syntax to create user defined classes are class, class name, and in bracket the exception. And pass is nothing but in case if you want to give an if you want to create an empty class, just use a pass, so the system will assume that this is going to be an empty class. If you're not typing anything, system assume that that is an error. So raising an exception. So you define your own class based on your customer needs or business needs. So raising an exception, we can raise an exception by using a raise keyword. So syntax is raise exception class. So by using a raise and exception class, I can raise my own exceptions. So so and so thing is going to be an exception, or when it comes to so and so point, it is an exception. So the temperature of a human body is supposed to be 97 degrees. If it's more than that, it is an exception. Or dry cough normally lead to allergy or a flu or a normal symptom. Dry cough with diarrhea may lead to corona. That is an exception. Hope you are getting what I'm trying to say. These are user defined exceptions, not system defined user exceptions. So we can also raise the predefined exceptions explicitly by using the raise keyword. Creating an exception class object explicitly is known as a raising the exceptions. Predefined exceptions are raised automatically, which we predefined. Those are system defined. All these things are automatically will be raised. User defined exceptions we need to raise explicitly by using a raise keyword. So when you have system has some predefined exceptions on the raise keyword, so those things automatically will be populated. Apart from that, explanatory, if you are looking for few more, then you have to use raise. Handling the exceptions, you can handle raise exception by using the try or except block. So similarly in the previous steps, how we handle the error handling for existing and standard system defined classes. So zero division by error is nothing but one class. uh, string error or a value error, All these are different classes which is already designed by system. Those are not user defined. So but for user defined, we are going to create we need to understand how to create my own class, how to raise my own exception, and how to use this class, nothing but the class Amar or class A, for my exceptional handling by using a try and except block. So those three, if you know these three things, user defined exceptions can be completed. But to complete that, I need to complete my object oriented programming. Out of these three, you know only one thing, try and except block. But how to create a class, how to create a race, we don't know. Is it clear? Any questions?
No much.
So modular programming and object-oriented programming, just I copied from the Google only. I not given my own sentences here. These are helping you for your subject purpose, nothing else. These three lines, 272, 273, and 274 slides. Only for, I just copied from the Google. So not something I created my own. So we are entering to object-oriented programming from tomorrow. So there is a slight different, and it is going to be a hectic topic compared to modular programming. So I suggest you just try to refresh your functions on modules, libraries, control statements, whatever you learned. So for just at least try to refresh your book once. The reason is couple of terminologies we are going to change here. So the function what you learned here, you may use it as a class or a module. And whatever you learned here, slight terminology will change it here. So you may be slightly confused when you are going to use the same DEF. Are you getting my point?
Yeah, Amar.
Yes, Amma.
So just refresh once. Tomorrow we'll start entering to object-oriented programming. It may take another 1 week to 10 days. Then we'll go to how to connect my backend databases like SQL or some other systems. After that, we'll see one couple of days for pandas and numpy. Formally, we'll close this syllabus. Maybe another 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So do not think that 2 weeks, 3 weeks only. It's depend on our way, how we are communicating on daily basis. Tentatively, another 2-3 weeks. Clear?
Yeah.
Any questions?